So I feel like I'm in a bit of a dilemma. Because bottom line, I love making breakdowns. I started doing them because when I was away from YouTube, a lot of people started asking me to appear in videos again. Because when it comes down to it, the most interesting way for me to enjoy animation is picking apart all the little details and then sharing it with others. These breakdowns were a way for me to start enjoying making videos again, and I fell in love with the process. Growing up, I was always pausing and rewinding shows, going frame by frame, comparing all of the finer details, and of course, doing research afterwards to learn about the cast, crew, and all the production facts. I felt like the only way I could truly enjoy a movie or TV show would be to watch it at least twice, then look at its Wikipedia page, its IMDb article, and then try to find as much behind the scenes content on it as I could find. The breakdowns were essentially a way for me to explain to people what's constantly going through my head whenever I'm watching these episodes. And for a while, everyone seemed on board with it. But as with Inktank tradition, they became a massively larger and more complicated version of what I initially perceived. If you remember back in the first video, my original plan was to do one entire season per video and get the whole series done in about 18 uploads. There's an unreleased version of the first breakdown on my old computer where I didn't go back and go through things frame by frame. I just watched the episode, then gave my comments and criticism on it post-viewing, kind of like what any YouTuber would typically do. But I realized it didn't get across the points and message that I wanted to give. So then I figured I'm going to just record myself watching the episode and go through it frame by frame and shout out the things I wanted to say, and then isolate those parts to make a little 3 to 5 minute commentary. But upon doing that, I realized I had so much to say and so much I wanted to keep, I might as well just take my time and say everything that I wanted to. And that evolved into what the breakdowns are today. But as you may have noticed, they just kept getting longer and longer. The first couple of breakdowns were about 6 to 10 minutes per segment, and now I'm lucky if I can get them under 20. And this is for a number of reasons. For one, the later episodes simply just had more to talk about, therefore there was more footage for me to keep. And second, the tolerance the audience had with the length of these was expanding, so I realized I didn't have to cut nearly as much as I used to, because it seemed like people genuinely cared about what I had to say, which is nice. Plus, I had a blast making them, so I took my time with it. But now they take too long to make. Keeping more footage means there's more for me to edit, more for me to research, more audio for me to balance, more time out of my day. And seeing what the breakdowns are now compared to what I initially thought they were going to be, this is not really what I signed up for. With 5YL, I thought that was going to take me 2 years max, but the art and story just kept on evolving, and here I am on year number 5, and it's still not done. And Beyond was a way to add on lore to the series in a fun, unique little presentation. The first 2 episodes only took about 2 weeks each to make, and now it has full-on animated segments with a voice cast and a passive secondary plot intertwined. The breakdowns were short little analysis videos on Ben 10 to get me back into the groove of making videos, and now they dominate the Inktank channel. And the thing is, all of these are good things to me. I'm not complaining as if I have to do these things now and I don't like them anymore. It's all just a lot, and most of all that I pretty much have to do by myself. Had I realized these projects would have grown into these monster obligations, perhaps I wouldn't have even started half of them, but they just keep on evolving and evolving, and combined with the motion comic, my regular Inktank job out of all the YouTube stuff, and the chaotic nature that is my personal life and health, I feel like I'm running a marathon that just keeps on getting longer, and there's a chance I might not ever make it to the end. So when I take a step back and look at everything that I got going on, it feels like the breakdowns are the ones that need to take a hit. They just aren't sustainable for me to make anymore, not like this. Now, I don't want to flat out just stop making them. A, I still have fun picking apart the episodes, and there's a good amount of people that still watch these videos. B, because even if I were going to start doing more non-Ben 10 content, I don't want to just drop Ben 10 altogether. Cold turkey. I want to do a nice transition between eras, and I really want to start experimenting with different content outside of the realm of Ben 10 or maybe even animation in general. But hey, this doesn't mean I'm not going to make Ben 10 videos anymore. It seems like Ben 10 will always be part of the channel somehow, especially if some new things start happening in the franchise. But I just don't want it to be the dominating thing anymore. And C, I'll admit it's pride. For those that know a little bit of my history, I've talked about all of these projects that I wanted to make growing up that eventually just fell apart for one reason or another. The main reason was usually because my friends who I would work with on these projects just didn't have the same passion for making home movies and animations like I do. So once a project stops having that fresh, fun feeling, they'd stop coming through. And when it comes down to it, sometimes when you're doing these things, you gotta stick with it even when it stops being fun, because the end result makes it worth it. But if you don't have that passion, when it stops being fun, you stop caring. And I always felt alone in that regard because I would always care. But with these breakdowns, it is on me. If I stop doing them, that's 100% my own decision, and it would just become yet another thing I said I wanted to do, and I didn't end up finishing it. So in doing these breakdowns, I feel this extra layer of pressure to make sure I finish them, because I'm already so deep into them as is. But also, I feel that passionate drive with all of these projects. And like I said, between all of my projects, I do think that out of everything, letting the breakdowns go would be the best choice. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm only going to be doing select episodes for full-on breakdowns. I already have a list of the episodes I'm going to do, but I don't want to make it public yet because I'm sure it's probably going to change a little bit here and there as time goes on. But with this list, hopefully I could finish these breakdowns by the end of the year and then move on to other subjects for content. The episodes that I don't do full breakdowns for, I'll be making 60-second YouTube shorts for over on my second channel, which is what this video is on right now. It'll have all of the ratings and my select thoughts on the episodes, but like I said, I just can't keep doing these breakdowns as they are anymore, not with everything else that I got going on. So far, I don't have an upload schedule for these, so we'll play it by ear for now, but expect sporadic uploading for the next couple of months as I'm still figuring out this process. I know this new method will be a bit disappointing, and there's definitely going to be episodes you wish I would have covered in full that I'm not going to, and for that, I apologize. I'm sorry. I know it sucks. I know it's a letdown. But on the other hand, it also saves me from doing breakdowns on episodes that nobody really cares about. Like, who's really itching to see a breakdown of, like, Moonstruck or The Color of Monkey? And come on, don't be that guy. Nobody really cares about those episodes in a breakdown format. Anyways, I've been feeling this way for a while, and as we're going through Season 3 of Alien Force, this seems like the optimal time to make a change. Thank you all for sticking with me through these years, and I hope you'll stick around as I transition into newer content. But until then, keep it fizzy.